My name's David Helton. I'm an avionics technician at a company called Electronics International at the Bend Airport, and I repair avionics for a living. On the weekends, before the pandemic happened, I would go to like the thrift store or yard sales and look for like old broken electronics, keyboards, like anything, and try to take it home and fix it or take it apart, see how it works, or tweak it in some way, modify it. So I've always just had a hobbyist interest in doing that kind of stuff. Like, I grew up pretty poor too, so I've always had to be frugal and had to fix my own stuff when I was a kid. I started doing volunteer work at the Environmental Center about a year ago, volunteering at the repair cafes. Yeah, I always strongly encourage people to especially with something that's already broken, to try to fix it themselves or take it apart, or go on YouTube or Google it and find, because usually if you buy a mass-produced item, chances are there's already been somebody that's had the same problem and has already figured out how to fix it. But for the most part, I think most things are fixable. The big thing is just being willing to give it a shot. There's a lot of people that just think that it's hard to begin with, and you just get a screwdriver, just start taking the screws out, take lots of pictures, just disassembling something. That way when you try to put it back together, it will make more sense. Having a little tray where you can separate the screws out if there's different size screws is a helpful helpful tool to have. I would say probably the biggest preventative thing is to keep your things clean, using a vacuum cleaner on your computers or on any heaters, or because that's another item that we see is heaters, toasters too. Those get filled with crumbs and all sorts of gross stuff. So cleaning those out will help them work better and prevent them from catching on fire. Anything that has any moving parts, usually you can use some light machine oil or 3-in-1 oil to lubricate any parts where any parts meet, any joints or any places where friction would be. That's another good one. That's another thing that we tend to fix a lot, is just take things apart and oil them and put them back together. Like on the last repair cafe, I fixed a steam mop that a lady brought in, and she just said it had gotten progressively weaker and weaker over time, and it was just a matter of taking it apart, and inside of it there was a hose that had a bunch of calcium buildup in it, and I just took that hose out and ran hot water, and I think we used alcohol and maybe scrubbed it a little bit to get the crust off of it, and then carefully put it all back together, and the thing worked like new. So yeah, looking for if it's an appliance that uses water, like steam mop, cleaning the water tanks or any tubing or hosing inside of the thing can prolong the lifetime. If you have something that's broken and you're not willing to pay somebody to fix it, and you're interested in trying to fix it yourself, if it's already broken, you're not going to lose anything by taking it apart and trying to fix it. And even if you can't fix it, you still might learn something. It's a consumer right, for one thing. People should have the right to do whatever they want with the products that they own, and it's an environmental issue because if people are throwing away products, it's just going into landfills, and probably in 2020 with the coronavirus pandemic, people will probably be forced to have to be more thrifty. Budgets are going to get a little bit tighter, and so being able to fix anything that is broken in your home, that might save you a lot of money. It's not just, at this point, it's not just helping the environment, but just trying to help each other out too.